We're speaking to John and Belinda Hughes from Rieslingfreak in the Clare Valley, great Riesling makers who are on the Real Review's Top Wineries of Australia 2022 list. Congratulations, guys. Well done, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Huon. We're excited to be here.
Excellent. Tell us a bit about yourselves. I know, John, you are a child and you're a son of the soil of Clare. You were born and raised there. What about Belinda? Is she from there as well?
Yeah, so with myself, we've had vineyards in Clare now for 41 years. So, but as you say, born and raised in Clare, and just our love for Riesling. And Belinda?
Well, I actually don't have any familial background when it comes to winemaking at all, but I decided to dive into it out of school and ended up working in several wineries around South Australia before I landed at Grant Burge for 13 years as the white and sparkling winemaker there, and then joined Rieslingfreak in January of 21.
Okay, well, just for people who perhaps need a little bit of background, you don't do anything except Riesling at Rieslingfreak. Is there any, I think you make 10 or 11 wines last time I looked. Is that still about the right number?
Yeah, that's correct. So we're up to 12 Rieslings now. So we looked at 4 different regions, 2 main regions being Clare and Eden Valley, and then we dive into the sub-regions being Polish Hill River and Flatsmans Valley.
Yes. You do dry, you do medium dry, you do sweet, you do fortified, you don't do a sparkling though, do you?
You do a sparkling, yeah.
Yeah, made the traditional method, so 3 years on lees.
Excellent. Terrific. And there's I'm not suggesting you should do anything but Riesling. Is there any plans to do anything else?
No, there's definitely no plans. We find 12 Rieslings is enough to get the old brain working, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, the wine I've got here in front of me is number 10. And a lot of your wines, well, I think all of them actually have a number on them, don't they? So the styles of Riesling or the sub-region or the region they come from all have a number. Is that how it works?
Yes, so with the number is represents style and region. So it made sense to us, but maybe not to some others. Yeah.
Well, you just have to read the back label, and it all makes sense because number 10 is called Zenit, which to me suggests it's the topmost, the Zenith, and I think that's your flagship wine for cellaring, isn't it? It seems to be designed as a wine for aging.
It's certainly, our Zenith, our pinnacle wine, we basically consider this to be the best expression of the vintage. We only produce it in very small amounts in exceptional years. And it's all about really, capturing the essence of the vintage in a way that harmonises the 2 major regions we deal with, both Clare and Eden Valley, in a really beautiful way. So definitely one for ageing, but in its youth, it tends to be quite subtle and delicate and elegant. And it's certainly a style that we really love.
So obviously, John, growing up in Clare, you were obviously exposed to Riesling at a very early age. You were probably even baptised in it, for all I know. But what would have been your earliest Riesling experiences that opened your eyes to the variety?
I think what really opened my eyes was the ageability of Riesling. Mum and Dad have always had aged Riesling in their cellars, and just drinking Riesling of that age has really brought it to my attention as to what can happen with Riesling over time. And then as I got older, I really dived into the German Rieslings and could see what they were doing with Rieslings, i.e. with the sweeter styles. And all this put together really brought me into Riesling and really encapsulated my passion for the variety.
And what about you, Belinda? What were your earliest formative experiences at drinking Riesling?
I can actually still remember the first glass of wine that I ever was offered by my parents. I was about 8 years old, and they actually gave me a glass of the 1990 Pike's traditional Riesling. It was just Pike's Riesling back then. And I think that's probably where it all started. Again, my parents had nothing to do with wine whatsoever. My dad's a dentist, but he treated a lot of winemakers As winemakers notoriously have bad teeth, and he often got paid in wine, so we had a really good cellar. And I think something about, even at a very young age, the incredible sort of fruit diversity that you get in Riesling and how it's sort of transitioned over the last couple of decades, it just excited me. So yeah, I've got a long history in Riesling, made a bit before Rieslingfreak, but yeah, I think it's just something that's always appealed to me.
Yeah. And John, you might like to explain to people watching how you got the nickname Rieslingfreak.
Yeah, that's a good story, that one. So going to university, I used to always take Riesling from mum and dad's cellars. And then after a while, got known as the Rieslingfreak. So hence when I went out by myself, the name was really made for me.
Seems like the right thing to... It was a thing that had to be, wasn't it? It was a prophecy that came true.
It is. It's good. Quite funny. So yeah, no. And I think we just love the name because it really encapsulates the story. Like, I think it's so important the label tells the story. I think Rieslingfreak does that really well.
Last question is about vineyards. I'm interested in how many vineyards you source grapes from. Obviously, the family vineyard would have to be there somewhere. The White Hut vineyard, I think it is, which is up in the north of Clare, isn't it? North of the town?
Yes. Yep.
And where else do you take grapes from?
So we got the White Hut, and we got Polish Hill River from Clare. And then we got about 4 vineyards in Eden Valley where we source grape going from Flatsman's Valley all the way up to Springton.
So 6 vineyards in total across the 2 regions. And we're determined not to move outside of that. We're quite serious when we talk about our growers as being part of our family. We obviously only have the 2 vineyards in Clare, one at White Hut, which is family owned, and one in Polish Hill River, which is run by the Jeschke family. And then our Eden Valley growers are, long-term growers for us. We have no plans to move outside of that to find additional grape, even if the demand was there. So we're more about working with our family to grow the best possible grapes and grow as much as hopefully Rieslingfreak needs. Terrific.
Well, I think it's wonderful that a wine company can exist and support a couple of people just by making Riesling. So I salute you and thank you very much for coming and giving us your time today. And Belinda John Hughes from Rieslingfreak, one of the top wineries of 2022 on the Real Review. Congratulations and cheers, and we hope to see you at one of our events, or both of our events, hopefully in the near future.
Sure.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Okay, cheers, guys.
Cheers.